Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. This is Psychic Medium Raymond Guzman, and today I'm going to be doing a psychic reading on the coronavirus. Now, for those of you that are not aware, it is a virus that has been spreading throughout China, throughout all parts of the world, including the USA. And a lot of you have asked me to do a reading on it and tell you exactly what I see, what Spirit says about it, and so that's why I'm here. So get your tea ready, let's talk about it. First and foremost, you know, I know that it's scary for a lot of you out there. It's scary for myself to even think of it, but we should not be given into fear. It's just like the Ebola virus when that, you know, was kind of like spreading throughout the whole world, but it was kind of contained more, you know, in one area. It's the same thing with the coronavirus, and this is not the first time. If you go back into history, we've always had these sort of plagues that have always hit. Back in the early 2000s, it was the swine flu, and then it was the H1N1, I think that was the swine flu, and then there was another one with the mosquitoes, you know, causing birth defects and whatnot in pregnancies. So there's been a lot of this going on throughout our history. I will start off by saying that the psychic impressions that I get from this virus is that it was man-made, and it was in a contained laboratory. It was something that it was the government, but not the U.S. government like people would think. I do feel like this would have been other governments, possibly even the Chinese. You have to think about China. There is a lot of population control. There's a lot of population there. They are overcrowded, and a lot of them are going to, the government itself is looking for ways to kind of eradicate, as bad as that sounds. And I feel like this is also kind of serving as a weapon, a biological weapon, this virus. And while it may not affect many people, it has the potential to cause a lot of harm. So for a lot of people that are wanting to understand, like, how did this coronavirus, how does it occur? Usually is very, I'm not going to say it's common, but it can be found in animals, and typically it doesn't affect humans. But in this case, it is affecting humans. It's affecting the upper respiratory system, and it's causing like pneumonia-like symptoms where the virus is mutating and becoming very resistant. And I'm not a scientist, so I'm not going to even get into that. But I do feel like this is definitely going to cause a lot more death, is that's what I see. There will be a lot of more lives that are perishing from this virus. It is going to spread, but it's not going to be for too much longer. Behind all of this, it's about money as well. It's about kind of creating an upside down type of situation, like an upside down kind of world when I tune in, meaning that they want people to panic. They want you to get into fear. The Chinese themselves, a lot of them are not even aware of what is going on and why this virus is even in existence. But I do see that a lot of it is shadow, you know, is definitely kept in the shadow. So this is like the underground part of the government, the ones that would not want to, that would harm, you know, individuals. They could care less about the lives of individuals. There's always two types of governments. There's the, you know, the ones that work in the light, and then there's the ones that don't. And I honestly feel like this is definitely the dark side of humanity, just like the Australian fires that we've been seeing, you know, the coronavirus, and, you know, all the other things, the earthquakes in Puerto Rico. This is all happening in 2020. Like I told you, this is just the beginning. 2020, for those of you that think that this is going to be like a new decade, and it's a new decade, and it's just going to be so full of blessings and things like that. There's going to be a lot of blessings for a lot of people around the world, and a lot of good things. But at the same time, there's going to be a lot of purging, a lot of mass exodus of souls from Earth. And this is not something to cause alarm. This is not the end of times or the rapture, because I know a lot of people would be thinking, you know, when they look at this and they're like, oh my God, this is biblical. You know, it's not. All of this kind of winds down to the I don't want to say shadow, the dark government, the underground government, really utilizing their resources, and it's all about money. They want to use money to fund the researches, to find cures, but it's costing the government money. And when it costs the government money, no matter, it's costing all the government's money to, you know, here in the US, it would be our CDC department to find out what is the cure. It creates a, you know, a shift of focus as well, and a distraction. Notice that when this is all happening, it's in the year of our re-election. It's in the year of a lot of people, you know, major changes in different countries. Look what's going on in Russia. You know, they're being investigated. And, you know, the thing that happened in Iran and all of this stuff, that's just, it's overwhelming if you really look at the news. This is why I do not look at the news. I do not want to even know about it, because it creates fear. And if you are an empath and you're looking at this, you're probably already freaking out by looking at the news, reading your Facebook, you know, and going through and seeing all these horror stories of the coronavirus. I do feel like it's going to mutate, and eventually it's going to die off completely. There is an antidote and cure. Antibiotics can cure it, but at the same time, I also feel like it may be resistant in certain blood types. Spirit is talking about it being stronger in certain blood types. This could be like blood type O, O negative. It could be also B positive. Those two. So I don't know where it actually originated, in like what blood type, but I am getting that there is a mutation, and some blood types can, their immune system, and I guess the antibodies or whatever you call that, can kind of eradicate the virus and fight it off. It just depends on and how strong your immune system is. You know, if you had cancer, you had chemo, you had like a severe immunodeficiency virus type of thing going on, it's going to affect you the worst. I do see that this is all going to kind of go away, and it's going to be kept hush-hush. Like, I feel like they're still devising other things. Like, this is not like the Black Plague, you know, the Black Death, or whatever you call it, that hit in the 1500s or medieval times when it hit Europe, you know, and it wiped out a lot of people. I don't see it being at that magnitude, but it has the potential to do a lot of damage in the nation, getting people sick basically, and having people very quarantined. Like I said, a lot of these people think that this is funny in many ways, because there's control, and when people are fearful, they're not able to think for themselves, and the government has to come in, and they're the most powerful entity. Now, I'm not talking about our U.S. government. I'm talking about China, and that country in particular. They are the dark horse. They are, and I love my Chinese rays of light, so I'm not talking bad about China, because I think they're really, really great, but I also feel like they are very advanced when it comes to medical warfare, you know, like viruses and stuff like that. That's their kind of their forte. You think about all the doctors, the scientists, all of this was released from a lab, and it had a different name than the coronavirus. That's not what it was identified. I keep seeing numbers labeled on an actual, what do you call it, test tubes. So it was done in a controlled environment in a lab, and it was released. Somebody took it and released it and infected one person, and then from there it traveled. It's like in the air, you know, it's airborne. It can live in the air. Even if they say that it can. So, you know, I wouldn't, my best thing that I can say is don't be fearful. It is going to go away. There is a cure. It's not the end of the world, but it is something to be very vigilant, because I don't feel like even if you had the flu virus, the flu shot, that would help you fight this off. You know, it's a very different strain. So again, I feel like in many ways, because I'm not a believer in the flu shots, right? And don't come for me in the comments, because to each their own. There's some people that believe in flu shots. I don't. But if you really think about it, and you're fully spiritually awakened, you'll understand where I'm coming from. You know, when you don't have the flu shot, and then there's a flu released, and people go into pandemonium, they're like, I need the flu shot, because what if I get infected with that? That could kind of ward it off. Even though that, you know, like I said, that's not going to be the case in this situation. Even if you got the flu shot, you could still get this virus. But I'm just saying that it would not make a difference. But it's kind of like a tactic to get people to be inoculated with that flu shot, and I personally would not get it, but a lot of people believe in it. So if you believe in it, get it if you want to, but I don't recommend it. I don't endorse it in any kind of way. But again, this is what I see. How long will this last? I think about maybe in 2 to 3 more weeks, we will start seeing it die down, and be kind of like, there should be like more news surfacing on it, you know, it being contained. But I do feel like it's definitely, right now, it's in the, like, the climax of the virus. You know, we're at the climax of it, and it being kind of spread. I do feel like there's going to be cases where people could even get it through certain foods that come in contact with animals that are infected, and that's how it's kind of mutating as well. So right now, I think that our livestock and, you know, the animals in general, population that are not, you know, used for meat or anything like that, are safe. I feel like they're strong enough to fight this off. But ultimately, there is a lot of shadiness, a lot of dark secrets, like I said, and we're going to continue to see more of these things kind of being unleashed in the form of fires, you know, viruses, and just a lot of, you know, man-made type of natural disasters that they will look, and they'll look to blame Mother Nature for it. But of course, we know with the viruses has nothing to do with Mother Nature. So that's the psychic reading. It was very short. There's not a lot that I can elaborate with. That's the information from Spirit. I hope that it kind of helps ease your mind and your soul, and may you, you know, feel peace and not feel like nervousness, because honestly, it's not worth it, guys. So I love you so much. Thank you so much for the support on my channel. If you have not yet booked a reading with me, right now all of my readings are on sale. You don't have to use any promo code. Just simply go to my website. It's www.raymondguzman.net/shop. They are on sale for a limited time only. I cannot tell you when it will be the end date, but it's coming up soon. I also want to tell you, if you haven't joined my Patreon, I am teaching psychic and mediumship courses. It's only $1.99 a month. I don't do tiers like other people that have Patreons and believe in tiers. So it's only one flat fee of $1.99 per month, and for that you'll have access to my classes that I'm teaching, and also other materials and sales that are only exclusive to my Patreons. So thank you so much. Blessings and love and light. I hope you have an amazing week. Bye.